you know, actually dialoguing with each other.
Meritocracy of older people. You can see there's different elder councils from different tribal groups that are essentially running things and overlooking us young people.
Convince that person that, please, I am me, I'm not they.
Nobody even showed up to vote. It was only me and my roommate.
Welcome to South Sudan. Today, my name is Myong Pon. You are watching us live in the United States. For our viewers who have just joined us, we want to welcome you, and I also want to welcome our people that have been with us for a very long time. We have topics that you will all enjoy tonight. We will be discussing the same little topic with Dr. Fudge and some of our viewers who would like to also join the talk and give us their insight of what they understand of the topic. I want to welcome all of you, and we are doing very well here in the United States as well as wherever you may be. If this is your first time to come to the show, this is South Sudan Today, a show that discusses politics, it discusses economy, it discusses education, name it, we all discuss it here. We do not discriminate anybody. We welcome everyone and everybody. But what we need for this show is that the protocols must be respected. We do not tolerate any foul language, profane languages, or anything that you wanted to add on what you are discussing. But we want your understanding that we need your ideas, what it is that bothers you. Let's discuss it here. We will be right back in a very short time. But later after this segment, we will also have Insight SPLM IO tonight. And if you are interested, join us. If you are against it, you also need to join us so that we can civilly discuss things that matters to our country. Again, my name is Miyang Font. We will be right back. Don't go away.
Ashana celebrate, Kulio, Kalina celebrate. Ashana celebrate, Kulio, Kalina celebrate.
Welcome to South Sudan today. My name is Myong Kwant. You are watching South Sudan today live here in United States. Our topic tonight is, of course, the values and your morals values as well. I will be discussing this with Dr. Said. And the questions of these topics is that values define what you want, but morals define what your society wants. The question here is, how do you put these two together in a country that you might not have been, your parents were there before, you were born from another country, you are in a different country as we speak now, and we are talking about personal values that shape yourself, but at the same time, the morals values are different, is what the society needs from you. This is something that, excuse me, this is something that we will be discussed tonight, and we want your input on what we will be discussing. What are your values in life? And if your values are of yours, does the society influence what you want to do, what you like, what you favor, what it is your family wants? So these are things that we'll discuss, and it will relate to our lives here in the United States, Australia, Canada, in diaspora as a whole, as well as back home in South Sudan. So this is why this topic will be very great. It means a lot, and it will actually discuss almost everything about our life. Why? Because this is the center or the fundamentals of a human understanding of himself or herself. So your values are yours, but when it's come to morals defining you, it is what your society expect of you. So we might be blaming each other's, but your values are yours. So let's discuss those. We will be right back. Don't go away. My name is Myong Kwan.
Ajing di de ye banywi kuyeran ban jirden 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 walonyen mar majungon kuyigan walonyen mar majungon kuyigan walonyen mar majungon kuyigan walonyen mar majonge kuyigan banjin ya.
All right. Can you hear us? Can you hear me now, Dr. Taj?
Yes, I can. Can you?
Okay, now it's much better, right?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Well, again, welcome to South Sudan today. We definitely rectified.
Oh yes, we are free at last. Freedom has come today. We had a dream, burning like a fire. Yeah, we must come true today. We are believers, believing in the struggle. Yeah, we must come true today.
Welcome to South Sudan today. My name is Myong Kwant, and again, you are watching us live in United States. We are live here in Omaha, Nebraska. And while we are waiting for Dr. Thach to come in, I want to highlight some of issues that are important to us as well as to our community. One of the reasons that we decided to discuss this topic of values and moral values includes how we conduct ourselves. Last week, or not too long ago, one of the hottest topic on our show has to do with two people loving each others. And this is why it is very important that we need to understand the values that individuals have and the moral understanding of your society. I'm not coming here to take a side of what you personally believe in, but it's very, very important that you understand individuals' values in life. Let's talk about those two that fall in love to each others. First of all, I'm not going to intend the names on anything else because I have not prepared to discuss that, and I should have talked to them first. But it was mentioning what happened because almost everybody, all South Sudanese, name it where they are talking about this young woman and her lover. The problem is that, first of all, even here in the western part of the world, we understand that first we need to know the age of a person. That's the most important one. And we understand here very well, whether you are in Europe or you are in Australia or you are in United States, a child that reaches age 18 is a man or a woman of herself or himself. Not that it is he or she can go rampant and do all bad things, but this is where the lines of being a child and becoming an adult is drawn. That is one. Two, once you are 18 years old, then it is up to you. But at some countries, especially here in the United States, especially where I live here in Nebraska, you have to be 19 to get married. That's only here in Nebraska. But in some other state, yes, it might happen. So if someone fall in love, doesn't matter how old you are, whether you are 60 years old, you are 70 years old, and that person is 18, he or she is already an adult. So in Africa, we might not have that in document, we not have that in law, but that's where it's supposed to be, because an 18 years old person is not quite fully adult yet, but that's the cut of the line, depending on what country you may be. So these two lovers, what I know for sure is that the man is the younger one, but the man, of what I know, is over age 18. And when he's 18, he can do anything he wishes to do. But the point of my discussion here that I'm actually like to convey to our viewers or whoever might be watching is that um, let's take the values. You know, your values are yours, but society will define your morals understanding of your society. So if two people that are, well, both are adults, come out and decide to wed themselves, becoming married, I mean, getting married and do their wedding, the only question that I think we should be concerned about, one, is that the other person agrees. And even if they don't agree and they are both adults, it is up to them. So my point here is that the people that we have been talking about, to me, they are both adults. I'm not talking about whether they're perfect couples or not, but morally, they are both adults. And that is where we should stop from there. If you relate to them, you don't like one or the other, that's a different story altogether. That's up to you as a family discussion. So my point here is that those two are both adults and we should respect their decisions. If you think that they are wrong, then you must be part of the family. And even if you are part of the family, it shouldn't be because that the man is much younger and then the lady is much older. Of course, the men in Africa, even here in this country, you can see a 67 years old person here in this country getting married to 21 years old. Why? It's because um, they they decide to do so, even though in this country involve um, it has to involve some wealth or something in order for an older person to get married to a younger one, and whether female or male. But my point here is that we should understand our moral values, that the society does expect expect of what you do or what you can present to the society. But values are yours. So if you have your own values, this is what you understand, this is what you respect, this is what identified you. So we cannot go and dictate what you are. So those two people have decided that they love each other. The only question that you check the IDs. Are they old enough? Are they adults? That's it. From there, it is their own business. So anyway, that is my point, and that's what I want to send across to you. We will be also talking about what the leadership actually involved when it comes to values and moral values. This is something that will be discussed later when Dr. Thaj is here. So I will give you some music, and from that we will be right back to talk more of our topic tonight. If you have any question, I have you can also on the back channel send us what you want, what you wish to say about the show, and this show is yours. You can tell us how we can make it better, and that is what we expect of you. If you have a burning issue that you want to add, also you can also add. Send us a text. We will see, and we will entertain your question. Thank you.
Lodi kenyan pain kulare kulya korom dirla luñ bay ni bola yini du nyan gal bay ni bola yini du lodi kenyan pain kulare kulya korom ni bol ka gadal madura tian arial ko chai de matwang pa kunyale ma jang di de kwendayim goja kwen kulay taglek panayan na kol pandit ban bani wa kwan arol namugan ber namugan ber pani wa kwan arol namugan ber pandida yan na kol namugan ber jagra magang real namugan ber pani wa di roma gege lor payin atoma jeramugan ber pani wa di roma gege lor payin atong nyir kwai ma dia tongane wul nyir kwai bu jog den ker gol dang weng kamai un kon mai rol awan ku na ro mai wul magal wa dir wul magal wul dang che ban.
We don't see our leaders, actually dialoguing with each other.
Welcome to South Sudan. Today, my name is Myong Kwon. You are watching us live. We are going to start our show. We have our guest in the studio already now. We'll bring him in. And again, our topic tonight, the whole series, this is part 3. It's about the leadership. But the specific topic that will enhance the discussion about leadership is the moral values of individuals versus the society. This is something that is very interesting. There's so many things that we do within our communities, but it seems like we do not differentiate these very important words that define both of us, the values and the moral values. I want to bring one of the persons that will definitely dissect these whole things together, and that is nobody else than Dr. Thach. Dr. Thach, welcome to the show.
My pleasure, brother. How are you?
Thank you very much. We took a little longer because we know that you were busy with some other, you are engaged with some other things, and thank you so much for joining us. I have told our viewers that this topic tonight, it will start with the values and moral values, but how does that apply to the leadership that we have been discussing for the last for a week or so? I think. I mean, more than 4 weeks. I think now. So, Dr. Thach, tell us about Tennessee?
Well, Tennessee, Mother Young is okay. I would say it's, one of the things we noted today and yesterday was the temperature. I cannot remember how hot Tennessee has been these few days. Then I had been here for a long time that I've been in Tennessee. So they are saying this is the record set yesterday and today in Tennessee. That also meant it is a challenge, and advice has been that people should not. You muted yourself. People should not go out unless they have a reason for it. They should stay in the cold places, and they also have to watch the temperature from their home, and of course, especially for vulnerable people, the children. But other than that, everything else is normal, like we already know, except the fact that for the last few days, we have been very concerned of what has been happening in western part of Ethiopia, in Gambela region, for what happened. I don't know, how much time we can spend on it, but I think it is more, it's so important for us to also talk a little bit about it as well. Yes, you muted yourself, sir. Mother Young, I cannot hear you. All right. Now, for some reason, I'm not hearing you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
عشان celebrate كل يوم خلينا celebrate. Shemista la kala, amizonta ni bikore. Salanga, shani gani fibele, alatani ma bikore. Iyaba mar dugle na nukara, iyaba dugle na nukara. Anabinati nyandeng binati kerleme, bukule halima nati jumboki, nati nyawaraga nati kiji, ashana celebrate. Ashana celebrate, Kulio, Kalina celebrate. You madarin Marisa Viet, Bermil Kabir. You ma Marisa Viet, Bermil Kabir. Anabinati la do binati durmomo, binati maker binati unanda. Kule si jino inati kuku. Ashana celebrate, Kulio, Kalina celebrate. Ashana celebrate.
Cannot hear you, sir. Cannot hear what you say. And maybe now with Don Largent, we might be able to hear you. Dolly, can you hear me now? Oh. Is it on my side? I cannot hear Dal as well.
Hello, Dr. Thaj. How are you?
Oh, okay. I can hear you now, Dal.
Okay. What
Can
about?
you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. I cannot hear.
I think I mute myself.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Ambassador Young, you have to figure it out. Otherwise, Dal and I will continue with the show.
Yes.
All right. Well, maybe we can go ahead and talk until Ambassador Young find out exactly what is going
Okay.
on with this.
Yeah, I heard him. I don't know. He was. I expect maybe he will be talking about the breaking news today in the situation with the Gambela. And
yes, we were supposed to touch base. We're supposed to talk a little bit of what we know. I'm not sure Ambassador Young or I have any more information about what's going on in Gambela than us passing our condolences and maybe also receiving any new update if there's any information that are new. So we don't really know anything else. But what we all heard or saw is that there's been a crisis. There's been a shooting in Gambela town, and I think the attacker are still not far away from the Gambela. Well, they might have been put back a little bit, but we don't know for sure whether they have been put so far, and the city is back to normal. We don't really know that, but our sympathies, our prayer are with all the people in Gambela. We are hoping this crisis come to an end, and people who have gone there, especially those who left here from the west, went and visit their family. Some of the people who went there for missionary work, people who went there to see their project that they are working on in Gambela, are returning safe and are also protected. And then, of course, we're praying that no harm to them, but also for the people in Gambela to return back to some sort of normalcy. So that's what we are hoping. We are praying as well, and we hope the situation in Ethiopia will come to an end. Gambela is a corridor. It's the home for a number of refugees from South Sudan. Now, having a crisis in Gambela is not really a problem to the resident of Gambela. It's also a problem of refugees who are also getting the support through Gambela, and also a problem to all of us who are supporting the relative in Gambela. So let's pray for peace in Gambela. So yeah, what can you share? What can you say about it, Dalajan?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we can have a topic to analyze it and
Yes.
And see from
in Gambela, for Gambela.
Yeah, the situation in Gambela, because it's not a new thing anyway, but
no, I don't.
There has been a series of incidents, and we know the issue from last year war with the TPL, and right now there are two new rebel movement, the OLF and then the GLF. These are emerging rebel group. So we can analyze it. I want us to just analyze, because we don't know the facts. When you analyze the situation, we will learn the reality, and then we will get into the facts of what is going on actually. So I was thinking maybe we analyze it today.
Yeah, what would you say about them?
Well, I can say so many things.
Yeah. What would you say?
Yeah. There's a lot of so many things we can say about it.
Yeah.
First of all, it is we are looking into, there is a crisis right now in Ethiopia, and this crisis is kind of a change.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we call people are protesting what they call democracy.
Mm.
And from onset, I was following the issue of the Ethiopia as a whole from the beginning, when there was a lack of election, because the TPL, which was then had a power, they didn't want that the election was postponed. That was the first thing that people have to know that. And a lot of people tend to disagree with me. I don't know what is your position on that issue, because Abiy Ahmed seemed to be copying some of the dictatorship across Africa, which is not good for his country. So these are the things that we need to discuss, because I believe if you will have let the election go in that year, there will be no war in Ethiopia right now. So that was the first thing. And I think from there, the TPL protests, and there was a war in part of northern part of the country. And now I think because of the peaceful, the peace settlement. Hold on, there's a boy here.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's good. Uh, uh, Zal is talking about what was going on in South Sudan and I mean in Ethiopia. And of course, on his perspective, he blamed the current crisis to the postponement of the election that was supposed to take place in 2020 in Ethiopia and postponed it to 2021. And with that, he believed that it was the cause of the crisis that happened now in Ethiopia. But even though we don't analyze other African countries so much in this show, Ethiopia is a second home to the South Sudanese people. And in fact, the crisis in Ethiopia is also a crisis in South Sudan. And because we have family in Ethiopia, and we have family in South Sudan, we have family in America, we can sometimes talk about those issues when they arrive. No one was hoping things to turn the way they turned in Ethiopia, whether the cause was because of the postponement of the election or it was because of the change that emerged from the prime minister perspective of what he wanted the country to be when he was selected to represent the Ethiopian, or it was anything else in between. Uh, it ended up becoming not only a political crisis but become a military, political, and economic crisis now in Ethiopia. Ethiopian are one of the second largest populated country in Africa, behind Egypt, behind of course behind one of the largest country, I think, is behind Egypt
Can you hear me now?
yes, I can hear you now, sir.
All right.
Yes,
I
you
had
are
to use
heard.
another gadget.
Yes, you're good. So anyway, we were talking about what is now becoming a part of the discussion, but we don't want to focus much on it. Is the cause of what happened in Gambela, and Dwal was also trying to alluded to what happened in 2020 for the for the postponement of election in Ethiopia becoming the cause of what is going on now. But even though to me, I think even though that happened, I think there's many components, and the cause of election might have not been the whole thing. There could be more into that. But all in all, even though we are not going to go deeper, since we have a different topic to discuss tonight, I think our bigger appeal to the people of Ethiopia is bring peace to Ethiopia, because peace to Ethiopia would mean peace to the Horn of Africa. It also would mean a peace to the rest of Africa, of course, to be honest. So we are appealing, and I like what I saw or heard today, that the government in Addis is now talking with the African Union to bring together the two warring party to some sort of a table. Hopefully, they will have a common. They will have a dialogue to bring peace to the people of Ethiopia. I think that would be hope, and then that will bring all this party to some sort of a consensus. So then we will have peace in Ethiopia. That's what I can say. I'm not sure whether Dal will continue to discuss this, but let's see what do you have now, when we can move on to the real topic of tonight.
Well, our topic's always segue to others, which is also the same, because what we will discuss here affects us, and this is one of the things that affects us, the Gambela issue that's happened. First of all, I would love um, to give the leader that we know. I personally did. I was contacted and I was given, I would say yesterday, a first hand information, but it's only what happened, not really of why it happened, how it happened, and by whom. But those who were talking to me was giving me what they were seeing, what they were told, and where the fighting ends in the end. So it's of course not a good thing for Ethiopia in general, and specifically for Gambela, and for us too from South Sudan. We are at stakes as well, because this is something that a city that is dear to us. all of us, we do have families within that Gambela, and not all of that. Gambela has always been part of our being as well. I would say that the South Sudanese that are in Upper Nile, specifically in the area of Bulang, Nasser, all the way to the two counties of Longchuk and Mawud, have been part of Gambela for a very long time. So I can understand the frustrations, and I can understand the worries that our people have. But first thing is that let's leave that to the authorities, so that the authorities will give us a way forward. Many of our people have jumped emotionally into what is happening, something that should not be the right thing to do. My advice should be that those of Gambela, those who are in Gambela currently, should be very mindful of where they go, what they, life should not be the same until things have changed. That's what the authorities said yesterday. So this is very important, and that's what I think we should give to our people. But for now, Dr. Taj, let me rectify this. I want your point. How this related to our people that are coming from South Sudan to Gambela. What should they do now? And what would our diaspora here say? Because what we say is make a big difference. I want you to highlight that. I also want you to comment on things like that. I will be right back.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question and the statement. I think there's nothing the people.
I think, I was taking care of little boy here, trying to get up. And, we were talking about the issue in Gambela, it's a big concern now.
I was giving a statement, a point to make, but
I give Dr. Thatcher to.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Dr. Thatcher.
Yeah. For one, majority of the people who are now refugees and in South and the Gambela area, majority of them are Nuer, and then seconded by maybe other tribes, including Anuak and maybe some Denka and etc. They live in Gambela. Are the refugees who not living in Gambela town? They live in the refugees camp across in the Gambela region. They don't live in the town. They live in the thing. But some of these people can come to town to collect whatever they have. This is a town, and because Ethiopia had also the same policy that refugees can move wherever they want. They can go and even create businesses any location they feel like. Some of these people can come to town to do whatever they wanted to do, but they need to go back. Now, during a crisis like this, what they have to be very, very mindful is that they came to that corridor for protection. They came there because they ran away from South Sudan due to the war. And because of that, they do not want to becoming. They don't want anything else that will continue to suffer, continue to suffer. So I advise to them is those who are in camp, stay in the camp. If they can be in the camp, allow the authority in Ethiopia to address whatever the crisis that needed to be addressed. Because when the civilian get into things like this, it exacerbates the situation. It causes the situation to even be unstoppable. So we want the civilian, especially the refugees, to stay in the camp and minimize the movement because of misunderstanding and because of the crisis of the border. Because again, some of the people who became victim of the result of the war between the group, it is something that we don't want to continue seeing suffering as such to continue happening. So that say, my advice would be let our brothers and sisters in Gambela take it serious to bring peace to people of Gambela, and also for brothers who are refugees in the refugees camp to stay in the refugees camp. Our message here as people in the West would be let's bring peace, because if there's no peace in Gambela, then where else will we have peace? Okay, if there's no peace in Gambela and there's no peace in South Sudan, then where else we will have peace? So let's have peace in Gambela, and that let it be a collective responsibility for all the people in the area by doing things that will bring peace, that minimize any crisis, minimize any issues that divide community, that cause problem, and that cause division within the people.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we could. Now you are two people.
I'm two people, but you can only hear me on the black part. The one that
Right.
you see my face, you can't hear me. But
Right.
let's just bear with that. I think it's it only makes sense that we can tell our people to be very careful of their choices. What's happening in Gambela is something beyond Gambela. It's just an outcomes of something that is happening somewhere else, and the federal government is on top of everything that is happening. To me, if I like what Ball say of analyzing it, if we can analyze what is happening in Gambela, Dr. Faj, to me, you know that government of Addis Ababa is secretly making peace with Makela. You know that it's happening. They just signed something in Nairobi, and what I can analyze on this is that those who were used, because the Tigray, who were actually the center of this, recruited those of Gambela, and of course the Oromo are also on the other side. But now that knowing that the Makela groups are actually making peace with the government, because the first thing that this would have been done, actually, this would have taken place in January, right? They came to stand still because the if you don't have a babysitter, then we can bring you later. If you don't have a babysitter, we can bring you later. The government say the only thing that we will recognize and for us to be part of this peace agreement is that the Mekela or Tigray must accept and recognize Abiy's government. I mean Abiy government in Addis Ababa, and they refused in January. But now they came to realize that there's no other ways than just being real of what's happening. So they finally accepted their government in Addis Ababa, and their banking systems, the telephone system will be back on, and the light as well will be back on, so that the electricity will go back to Makela. I believe, and this is only if, right? If that's what happened in Makela is happening, then those of the other side, the western part of Ethiopia, that include Oromo and the Gambela Liberation Front, they felt that they have been let down. They are not part of that discussion. I believe so, because I read that. So I think they are just making themselves available that they are there. They have not gone anywhere. Only that they are killing people. And what happens in Gambela should not have happened in the first place. So my message to our people in Gambela should be that, or wherever they are, should be that they should be very, very, very careful of who they support. But I congratulate the government in Gambela and the people of Gambela for standing up to themselves, protecting themselves, and now comes as a turn to Gambela. So before we get to our final, to our real topics, Dr. Thaj, I want you to mention what should our people here in diaspora do.
Well, I don't know whether I will talk with two ambassadors. I think you're good with either. You can keep the black. You can keep the black and get the other one.
Yeah,
but,
the other one is the one that produced the voice, though. That's
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other one produces the voice. The other one is the image. So
okay.
Let me see if I can text this one off. And,
Yeah, you got
and
better now. That's
but
good.
okay, go ahead
Yeah.
now. Yes.
So anyway, so
I can
no,
make good two people.
yes, I would want us to move on to the next topic,
Okay.
but
Go ahead.
I think it is critically important that all of us have the interest to see Ethiopia in peace for many reasons. East Africa has been with no leader for a while now, because leadership brings peace. Leadership address issues in a way that it could actually create hope to the population, where things can be made different. If you look at what happened from Sudan to South Sudan to Somalia to Eritrea to Kenya and even to Uganda and all that, so it has been it has been some challenge for a while, and this challenge still continues to be what it is. And Ethiopia at some point has maintained the integrity of becoming the mother of Africanism, whereby people run to Ethiopia and they feel safe in some cases, in some sense. And it doesn't matter whether you are representing any interest that is geared to which side of life is. When you got to Ethiopia, you feel you will be protected security-wise. When there was crisis in South Sudan, people who ran to Ethiopia, they were not deported back to South Sudan, where we were scared to go to Uganda, scared to go to Kenya, and even also to Sudan and etc. But Ethiopia maintained the integrity and dignity of becoming the mother of the whole. So with this crisis now, it is questioning whether the Ethiopian will continue to maintain that societal symbolism, or they will change to something else. But I think if they can bring it to where they can build compromise and have the peace in the country, even though it may some part of the group may not feel good about the peace, as long as they are being represented and given whatever they belong, whatever they deserve, I think it would be good for us to see to feel good when Ethiopia regain some peace, so that we can move on with the development, and Ethiopia can also move with the development as part of a growing nation in Africa. So that's what I can actually say into this thing. Now, for African, our South Sudanese and the Sen who are here, our Ethiopian who are here, I think if you can have a voice, if
Yeah.
you can have a voice that can be heard back home, let it be about peace. Let it be about forgiveness. Let it be about addressing the accountability, and also people suffer. Some people were victims of some thought. There has to be some kind of accountability. There has to be some sort of compromise that has to be made, and an agreement that doesn't really address the root cause. Sometimes it does not last longer. So maybe there has to be a need for addressing the root cause of what brought that country to what now we know it for, and then maybe a mechanism will be put in place to prevent the future crisis as such to happen in Ethiopia, and of course that model can also be replicated somewhere else.
Thank you very much. We exhausted that part of Ethiopia, and of course, it's very important. We should discuss it more. But we are going to our main topics. Our main topic is about the values, moral values of individuals, and all these intertwined in certain way or so. Because when we talk about leadership, but this program is all mostly about leadership. When we talk about leadership, it only makes sense when someone understands his or her own values and opposed to the morals of society that society expects of the person. But Dr. Said, I want us to discuss this in relation to our problem in our country, in this country where we are in right now. Many people do jump into things emotional. Even the very thing that happened in Gambela, it is already affecting our people. And that's why I came up with that topic, that we need to understand what are our values in life. And I want your perspective on that, Dr. Said.
I think it is I think this is a good topic to discuss. Not only because of what happened in Gambela, even though it is important, but I think it is important to discuss because of everything that is happening now in the world. And as we speak today, brother, million and million of people have been displaced all over the world. Million and million of people. Million and million of children, as we speak now, will go to bed with no food. You can talk about every other aspects of the humanity suffering that our people are going through. So if you can break it down to where we are, even in America, for example, you can talk about South Sudanese or African in America. What are we value? You know, there are so many aspects of the values. There are social values, which we know, that are very critical for us, because if we do not see ourselves as any other people, like any other people, then we are valuing nothing. There are also economic value. The economic value which actually supplemented the social values that we have. And of course, there are other aspects of value that we also believe in. Let's take human social value that we have. What do we represent as human? Part of what I always like people to begin thinking of themselves is for them to look into their purpose in life. What is your purpose in life as a person? What is my purpose? What is Brother Myung, Ambassador Myung purpose in life? Why are you existing? You are existing for a purpose. Do you actually know your purpose? Because part of the challenge that we have in life now is so many people, many of us, do not know why we exist, why we are in America in the first place. But before you came to America, you were born as a human being. You have gone through so many things in life. Some of your suffering that you overcame them because you believe in something. But what is that? Okay? Some of the things that you do right now, you do them because you believe them. But are they your purpose? If what you do now is not your purpose, then you do not really know your value. Because your purpose derives your value. If your purpose in life is to serve humanity, then you will do things that actually empower human beings. What is it that empowers people? In our community, for example, what do we do to empower children to have a better communal support? You know, get good in education, get good with connection, to have social and emotional upbringing, attending good colleges or universities, get better job, come back to the community and give back to your community, attend church services, you know, have faith or maybe mass services or any thought, because you got to believe on something bigger than yourself. But if that is your purpose, if your purpose is to change the life of others, then what do you do to change your own life? Because again, values that we believe in, I think that we actually are our purpose. If we know what we are here for, then we actually have to work for it. If you do not think that you want anything, then you cannot go for anything bigger than you. For example, today I was congratulating one of the young lady. I would mention her name, Yamalde, Honorable Yamalde. He ran a few years ago for a city school board in Fargo, North Dakota. She did not really get that position. She ran again this year, spent a lot of money of her own. And the reason is she wanted to give back to the community. She had extraordinary support from people who are not from South Sudan background, who are not even from Africa background. But they have seen in her that she has something to give back to the community. So her value is to give back something to the community. If that is what you believe, if that is what she believes, she has to struggle to get that, regardless of what it takes. she will always have the faith to go for what she believes. So one of the challenge in our community, as we speak now, Mother Young, is that so many people do not really know what their values is, what their values are. If your values is based on profit, say for example, some such transactional people, one of whom was part of one a former leader in this country, his value is to gain something from people. Okay, what he wanted in life is to get something from people, so to enrich himself. If that is your value, then anybody else that you see, you don't care whether they die, whether they leave, whether they have anything to live on, or anything like that. Your value is you look everybody down. That's your perspective. That is actually becoming your value. That's your belief. And your purpose now in life is to enrich yourself. You came here to enrich yourself regardless of what way it is. If that is what you know, that's what you are, then society will see you as such. Because people see you more and know more about you than you do about yourself. Because what you do is what people know about you. Now, how you say you are. What you do on a day-to-day basis is what actually describes you. So if you do not value respect, if you do not value trust, if you do not value support, if you do not value care, if you do not value health, if you do not value communal unity, if you do not value peace, if all you want is division, if all you want is negativity, if all you want is talking down on people, if this is how you actually want to see, this is who you become. And that, in fact, if you don't know, this is who you are. But what you do on a day-to-day basis, shapes you to be who you are.
Yeah.
So we're not known because of what we say. We're known because of what we do. And what we do, if it's not what we believe, we should not do it because it's wrong for us to do it because that's not what we are supposed to be doing. So in a sense, what I'm just trying to say is that it is important for any human being to know what his purpose, his or her purpose is, because that really drives your value in life. Because your individual value is maximized to the societal value. Because how you do things is how you will affect it. It's how you will contribute to society. It's how you contribute to the country. It's what you will become and you will be known for. So if we want to change our community, we have to change how we do things. We have to change what.
Can you hear me now? Okay, good. Go ahead.
It has positive and negative. It depends on your focus. What you focus is what you become part of, because that's what you will do. If you have a crisis today, it's not the crisis, that fact that change you. Crisis doesn't change you. Your attitude, your right attitude change you. If we are talking about this crisis that we have today, when we focus on the crisis itself, then we will not be able to overcome the crisis. But if we know the crisis is big, then we put a frames. You know, like you have a picture. When you have a picture, you put a frames. And when you have a frames, you put focus on that frame. Now with that frame, it has two sides. One side could be positive and the other side could be negative.